It happens here in Boston, the greatest sports town in the world, where championships are not simply appreciated, they are demanded. No city has won more championships, banners, or cups in the 4 major sports since 2000. But there's one team for whom we've been negligent in parading out the duck boats, the Boston Knight Riders. Boston's 2-time champion Quidditch team. Yes, that's right, Quidditch, as in the fantastical sport from the world of Harry Potter.
Quidditch is a co-ed, full-contact sport. It's kind of like a combination between the sports of dodgeball, basketball, and hockey.
To understand the sport, it's best to understand what it's not. And the players, they have heard it all.
A lot of people are like, oh, who do you pretend to be? They think we're cosplayers. So they're like, oh, are you Hermione?
Do you play for Gryffindor?
Do you fly? We do not.
People really will tease you until they get to know it. Once they understand it more, they really come around.
It just takes a bit to understand, and it's hard to follow which ball.
For those who don't know their elbow from their Azkaban, this is how it works. Each team has 7 players on the field, 3 chasers. Think offensive players who score goals worth 10 points by throwing the quaffle through one of 3 hoops. There are 2 beaters. Think defensive players who defend by throwing one of the 3 bludgers, think dodgeballs, to temporarily knock players out of the action. There's 1 keeper who's like the goalie and able to handle the quaffle as well. Then there's a seeker who goes after the snitch. Okay, so are you with me so far? Because the snitch is the biggest spectacle in the sport. As in the books and films, catching the tiny gold flying orb ends the game and is worth 30 points. But in real-world Quidditch, the snitch is personified.
The snitch is actually a tail, Velcro to the back of a person's shorts, and that person is the snitch runner. Their job is to protect that snitch tail as long as possible.
And they used to do a lot of shenanigans, they were called. Like snitches would have water bottles, water balloons, mess with people, do all sorts of stuff, hide in the crowd, which was interesting, but it didn't really help for the competitive aspect of the sport.
And that's the real magic trick. What started as more of an obsession with Harry Potter has turned into an actual competitive sport, played by thousands of athletes across the world.
This sport has evolved so far from Harry Potter.
But when it started, it was definitely a lot of nerds playing sports, and now it's a lot of athletic kids playing a nerdy sport.
And yes, we give it a nod with, the broomsticks.
Oh yes, the broomsticks. Per Rule 2.4 in the official U.S. Quidditch rulebook, players are required to keep a wooden or plastic pole between 32 and 48 inches long between their legs during play.
Every sport has it. In soccer, you can't use your hands. Basketball, you can't move without dribbling. Like, every sport has some type of handicap, and so for Quidditch, our handicap is the broom.
It takes a bit to adapt. I'd say it probably takes a year to get used to it.
Beyond the potential broom hazards, it does take some serious sorcerer's stones to play this game.
It's a full contact co-ed sport. People have really gotten serious injuries. I've broken a finger, people have torn ACLs, concussions are a big thing.
It's no longer just geeks and capes like it was when it started.
The Knight Riders squad is made up of college and post-grad players from schools from all over.
There's Boston University, Tufts University, Emerson College.
And Boston apparently is pretty darn good at this sport. Their league, Major League Quidditch, started in 2015 and consists of 16 teams across the US and Canada. The Knight Riders won the first 2 championships before falling to Austin last year.
After our last championship, we were joking that we should do a duck tour. We should have our own little parade.
And while the US soccer team missed out on the upcoming World Cup in Russia, 6 of the Knight Riders players will be representing red, white, and blue across the pond this summer.
I'm thrilled to be traveling to Italy to go play for the U.S. national Quidditch team.
Representing your country in your sport is the highest honor.
In 2016, we went to Frankfurt, and the USA took home silver. And that was a real kick in the butt.
A lot of people thought we had the country down, so it's a lot more motivation this time to go.
But first, these Knight Riders have to focus on the regular season, which kicks off this Saturday in South Boston as they take on their rivals, not from Slytherin, but from where else? New York.
Oh my gosh, the New York-Boston rivalry. It's coming back.
Cheer loud, it's Boston, New York. Everyone lives through this kind of rivalry.
I can promise you that we're going to come out hard. We've won 2 championships, and my plan is to win another one this year.